If you were a rock kid in the late 90s, you know exactly what I mean.
Nirvana is definitely the best. No way, Soundgarden rules.
You had a CD binder stuffed with albums. You wore band shirts until they practically fell apart. And every time MTV played your favorite band, you felt like you had discovered them before everyone else.
Yes! This is the best song!
Back then, nu metal was everywhere. It was on MTV, it was on the radio, it was blasting out of car stereos, bedrooms, skate parks, and school parking lots. And everybody had a favorite band. So before we start, I want you to do something. Think about your personal top 3 albums from this era. Make your list right now. Then as we go through today's rankings, see how your favorites actually performed when it came to sales. Did they become massive hits? Did they get overlooked? Or did they completely change music without selling nearly as much as they deserved? For me, my personal top 3 looks like this. Number 3, Meantime by Helmet. Because without Helmet, a lot of these bands might not even exist. Their riffs and grooves changed heavy music forever. Number 2, Enema by Tool. Because Tool proved you could make complex, challenging music and still reach millions of people. Every song feels like an experience instead of just a song. And my number 1, Sevendust by Sevendust. Why? Because this band earned everything. No giant radio hits, no massive MTV machine behind them. Just incredible songs, incredible vocals from Lajon Witherspoon, relentless touring, and one of the most loyal fan bases in rock. To me, Sevendust represents everything great about this era. Now, the funny thing is that none of those albums are at the very top when it comes to sales. That is why today's list is so interesting. Because the albums we love the most are not always the albums that sold the most copies. So today we are putting personal taste aside. We are looking at one thing only, the numbers. Let's get into it. Let's start with some albums that deserved more success than they got. Number 15, Coal Chamber by Coal Chamber. Approximately 500,000 copies sold worldwide. 500,000 copies sounds impressive until you remember how visible Coal Chamber was during the rise of nu metal. This band played the first Ozfest and became one of the faces of the movement. Even today, fans cannot agree on this album. Some people think it is an underrated classic. Others think it represents everything wrong with the genre. Either way, people are still talking about it almost 30 years later. That tells me it probably should have sold more. Number 14, The Fundamental Elements of Southtown by POD, approximately 1 million copies sold worldwide. Most people remember POD because of their 4th album, Satellite. That was the album that made them stars. But Southtown laid the foundation. Everything that made POD unique was already here. The heavy riffs were here. The hip-hop influences were here. The positive message was here. The world just had not caught on yet. 1 million copies is a solid number, but this album deserved a little more attention. Number 13, Adrenaline by Deftones. Approximately 1.1 million copies sold worldwide. Looking back, this number feels surprisingly low. Today, the Deftones are one of the most respected bands from this entire era. Musicians love them, critics love them, fans love them. But when Adrenaline first arrived, the audience simply was not as large as it would become later. This album aged incredibly well. Its reputation grew year after year. The sales never fully caught up. Number 12, Around the Fur by Deftones. Approximately 1.2 million copies sold worldwide. This one surprises me even more. Many fans consider Around the Fur one of the greatest albums the genre ever produced. Songs like My Own Summer and Be Quiet and Drive helped separate the Deftones from almost everyone else. They sounded heavier, darker, and more emotional. Today, this album is considered essential listening. At the time, however, it sold only slightly more than the band's debut. The audience simply needed time to catch up. Number 11, Meantime by Helmet. Approximately 2 million copies sold worldwide. 2 million copies is respectable. The The surprising part is how many bands were influenced by this album. If you listen closely, you can hear pieces of Helmet all over the nu metal movement. The riffs, the grooves, the rhythms, they helped create the blueprint. This is one of my personal favorites because it changed heavy music without always getting the credit it deserves. Number 10, $3 Bill Y'all by Limp Bizkit. Approximately 2.2 million copies sold worldwide. Before the massive success, before the controversies, before people formed strong opinions about Fred Durst, there was this album. The debut feels raw and hungry. The band sounds like it has something to prove. Looking back, it is fascinating to hear where Limp Bizkit started before they became one of the biggest bands on the planet. Number 9, System of a Down by System of a Down. Approximately 2.5 million copies sold worldwide. Nobody sounded like System of a Down. Nobody. Their music was strange, unpredictable, and completely original. That originality eventually made them superstars. But when this debut arrived, it took time for people to understand what they were hearing. Today, many fans consider it a classic. At the time, it was simply ahead of the curve. Number 8, Angel Dust by Faith No More. Approximately 2.5 to 3 million copies sold worldwide. This may be the most underrated album on the entire list. It was too weird for some people. It was too heavy for others. And it refused to fit neatly into any category. Years later, many musicians would point to this album as a major influence. Sometimes great records need time before people recognize how important they really are. Number 7, Sevendust by Sevendust. Approximately 3 million copies sold worldwide. The album sold only 310 copies during its first week. Most bands would have disappeared after that. But Sevendust kept touring, kept grinding, kept building fans one show at a time. And that's why people still love them today. Nobody worked harder for their success. Number 6, Slipknot by Slipknot. Approximately 3 to 4 million copies sold worldwide. 9 masked musicians from Iowa somehow changed heavy music forever. This album sounded dangerous. It sounded chaotic. It sounded unlike anything else on the radio. Millions of fans heard it and immediately wanted more. That is exactly what a breakthrough album is supposed to do. Number 5, Enema by Tool. Approximately 4 million copies sold worldwide. 4 million copies is impressive for any album. It becomes even more impressive when you remember that Tool never chased trends. They never tried to write music for the mainstream. Instead, they challenged listeners, and millions of fans accepted that challenge. Number 4, Godsmack by Godsmack. Approximately 4 million copies sold worldwide. Godsmack understood exactly who they were. They combined heavy riffs with memorable hooks. The result was an album that seemed to be everywhere. You heard it at parties. You heard it in cars. You heard it at the gym. The band found a formula that worked and executed it perfectly. Number 3, Korn by Korn. Approximately 10 million copies sold worldwide. This is where everything changed. When Korn released this album, it sounded like nothing else. The guitars sounded different. The lyrics felt more personal. The emotions felt more raw. Millions of people connected with it. The album did not just sell records. It helped launch an entire movement. Number 2, Follow the Leader by Korn. Approximately 14 million copies sold worldwide. This is the moment when nu metal became mainstream. Suddenly, the genre was everywhere. The videos were everywhere. The songs were everywhere. The culture was everywhere. Whether or not it is Korn's best album is still up for debate. What is not debatable is its impact. And at number 1, Significant Other by Limp Bizkit, approximately 15 to 16 million copies sold worldwide. The biggest seller on the list, this album was absolutely unavoidable in 1999. You could not escape it. Nookie was everywhere. Break Stuff was everywhere. Love it or hate it, Significant Other captured the moment better than almost any album from the era. The sales numbers prove it. So what did we learn? We learned that sales and influence are not always the same thing. Some of the biggest albums sold millions upon millions of copies. Some of the most influential albums did not. That is what makes this era so fascinating. Now I want to hear from you. What were your top 3 albums before the video started? Did they sell more copies than you expected? Or less? And which album do you think got robbed the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the trip back to the 90s, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.